I remember just having to run out the house with no shoes on and a duffel bag, and my sister, who would have been about 1, in my mum's arms, running down the street into the car with him chasing after us.
People thought I'd left school in A-levels because I just hid away. I just stayed in that room for 2 years and rejected everything that people had currently thought I was, because I couldn't keep it up anymore.
I read somewhere that kids see their parents as soulmates. I saw mine as enemies. My little kid brain had 2 separate kingdoms, letting me bleed through their wars. I want to help people be in touch with their ugly side, because it's not ugly. I think it's beautiful, and it's what's gonna make you become your most authentic self, you know?
I know I don't want anyone to look at me and think, oh, I don't want to be friends with her anymore. It's quite a hard thing to then put your emotions and how you're feeling onto someone else. So it's easier kind of just to hide behind it and not say anything. But actually it does build up to a point where it can get a little bit much, and that's where you kind of explode.
Emotion is human, so it doesn't matter if you're feeling hatred or anger, anxiety or whatever. Like, all that's great to me, because that's at least confirmation that I'm not completely mental. But most of the time I'm utterly void of emotion. I just feel like a husk most of the time, just walking about like a robot, floating from room to room and going to different things and really not caring about anything.
If I'm not understood, I get angry, but then that's something I need to work on, because no one will ever completely understand what I'm trying to say or do.
A lot of the anxiety that I have stems from the idea that I don't want people to think that I can't do something, or that I'm kind of not good enough in a certain situation. So even if I am finding things hard, I don't really talk about it enough.
I think it's kind of like the whole ignorance is bliss thing. When you're younger and you can't think as coherently, and you can't construct all these different ideas in your head, you know, then you trust people more, I think. But when you're older and the more intelligent you get, either emotionally or whatever, there's a million angles to look at any given relationship. So I don't feel like I fully trust or feel connected to anyone.
I do get attached very, very quickly, and I can't let go of things, because I think it reflects the way that I felt when I was young.
I don't feel like people, especially when you're young, allow you to grow. If you were a funny kid, then you're a funny teenager, and that's it. You're not anything else. You're the funny guy. You're there to make somebody laugh. So if you were funny in primary school, you go into high school and you try and be different, people are going, what are you doing? You know, why are you going off script, you know?
Well, in Cyprus, mental health doesn't exist, you know? Like, it's a bit crazy, actually. If you can get, like, professional help, which is crazy expensive, then you're sorted. But if you come from, like, working class family, if you're a bit mentally ill, like, first of all, it doesn't exist. Second of all, I think you need to, like, be really, really, really bad to get help. But if you, like, suffer from depression or anxiety, that's fine. You're just a bit scared that day.
One day I came home. I don't remember if I'd been at school or been at home for the day or what I'd been doing, but in my house at home where I grew up, we used to have like a study room, so it had a desk and computers on top and stuff, and I think I went in there to play on the computer and sat on the chair and moved it out, looked down at the floor, and my dad was there, kind of unresponsive, overdosed, basically foaming at the mouth on the floor, and I didn't know what to do, and I don't really actually remember kind of what happened after that, because I think I must have kind of blocked out everything else. I remember once there was an instance where we knew some other people were coming, and I found out that we used to have a bag packed ready to leave in case we had to leave and go somewhere else for a few days, a week, get away, because my mum didn't want us to be around that. Like, looking at him now, I know he would never want to put me through anything like this. And I think as much as I can say, like, or anyone can say they struggle with mental health, I think he was probably really struggling, because I know that it would really upset him to know how it made us feel.
I never felt the desire or the need to impress my mum as much as I felt I did with my dad. And I know for a fact my brothers are the same. They never talk about it with me, and they never have said that. But now that I look back on it, I valued my dad's attention way more, because when I had his attention, I was talking to him. I was wanting to impress him with, my knowledge on something, with what I did that day in school, with whatever. And then the hard realisation is that half the time he probably wasn't even really listening anyway. As much as when I was a kid, I thought of him as the best thing ever, and as an absolute superhero, the more I got older, I realised that I didn't actually feel as though I ever swayed him on anything. I don't think I ever said anything that truly interested him. I felt so loved by him as a kid, and I do believe it when he says he loves me now, but I don't believe that he particularly likes me, which is okay. It's fine. You shouldn't be expected to get on with someone just because you're family.
My parents used to argue a lot. I remember I used to watch them from like the crack of... So, okay, imagine a corridor and there was a door at the end of it, and they would leave it a bit open. And there was a mirror that would face, so I would see the reflection of the kitchen. They would fight in the kitchen. So I would get out of bed. I was like 8 years old. I would get out of bed and stand in front of the mirror and watch the reflection of them arguing. And I would just watch them. I remember doing that a lot. And then one night, they argued really bad. And as they left the kitchen, I ran to my room and pretended I was sleeping. And they came and get me, and they said, we're getting a divorce. And I was like, I don't understand what that means. And they just said, you get to sleep with us one more time, like in the middle. So I remember laying down in between them, and I do this thing where I play with someone's earlobe to fall asleep, and I was playing with both their earlobes, and then I asked them to kiss like one more time before like everything ended, and they did. And I remember waking up from my sleep to sirens of the police, and my parents weren't there, and I left the room and there was like shit smashed everywhere. And I just remember my grandma just picking me up and just taking me away and saying that it's gonna be okay and whatever.
I went through quite a bad breakup about 2 years ago, and looking back on it now, the reason that I think I found it so hard is because they were the first person I think that I ever truly felt that comfort from. As like a separate person, I didn't have a lot of kind of emotional and physical support in a day-to-day life when I was a child, and I definitely used that person to find that home.
I feel no love or no connection to any of my family members, and it's really fucked up because I will love a random man more than my own mother just because he'll give me that, well, I think he'll give me that love, but like he'll give me that, you know, temporary love.
I don't know, I think I would probably want to go back. I don't know. I can't do that, Holly.
It feels like I have something sentient that understands what it is. It is like a physical virus, only mental. Like, because what a virus will do, it'll adapt, it'll evolve, it'll change, and it will do anything it can to both take you down and do it without being seen. And it's the same with this, because anytime you get really bad and you feel like, oh, maybe I should talk to somebody, maybe we should do something, then it lays off you for a couple of weeks and it gets better, and it's like, oh, okay, then maybe I'm just crazy. And it itself makes you feel like you're crazy, and it really messes with your head.
As we're born into this world, we get put in families, and these families have other families, and those are our ancestors, and you know, there's a timeline of people, and we get put into one. We can't decide what or who or when, and we're just like, okay, I'm fucking alive now. And then I guess what you need to do, what your mental health is, what your ancestors and your great-great-grandparents and your parents have been through in life, that now you carry with you. So it's just a part of you that you are born with into the world, you know? And it's something that I think it's so beautiful, because it's something, again, that you have no control over.
Jim Carrey put it really well when he was talking about depression and saying that what it is a rejection of who you currently are. And I completely agree. I think that's what it is. I think it's your mental state telling you, I don't want to be this anymore. You know, change. You have to change yourself, and then it's up to you to figure out what that change is.
I think self-love is probably something that a lot of people struggle with, and I think it probably just means to be content with your own person and to be happy on your own and not feel like you need other people to complete you. So just to feel happy in your own presence and complete, and just have that deeper understanding of what you need just for yourself, rather than trying to kind of do it for anyone else.